Podcast with Lonzo in command. Brought to you by Compton Entertainment Chamber, across the land. News and information, straight and uncut, we deliver. Real talk every time, sharp like a sliver. Like and subscribe, stay tuned, let's ride.
Wrong intro, but I'll take it. What up with you, Doc?
What up, Lance? How you doing, my man?
Hanging out. I'm doing too much as usual. Just, push the wrong button at the wrong time, and it's all right.
All gravy, baby. All gravy. Shout out to the chat. Go on and hit that like button before you get too comfortable. Welcome to the show, N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. We got a lot to talk about tonight. Let's jump right into it, Lonzo. First things first, man. We have to send our prayers, good vibes, whatever you believe in, nowadays to Kurupt. Kurupt is having some serious health issues. Apparently he's always, as of late, I should say, had some health issues. He's early 50s and he had a series of strokes and seems like some pretty serious stuff, man. Let's talk about Kurupt a little bit before we break down health and all that and give everybody else some game. But, Kurupt is one of my favorite MCs of all time. I think he's just a lyrical genius. And when I first heard him on Chronic, he stood out. In Dog Pound, he stood out. But when you first heard Kurupt, man, talk to me about, your first thoughts of Kurupt.
I love that song, What Would You Do? That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah. What would you do?
Man, that's something, gun. The groove and the flow. Let me say this: as a DJ, been playing for decades. Certain songs take you right back to a certain place. And What Would You Do was one of my closers for the Club Hall of Fame, Hollywood Park Casino. That was one of the last songs I would play before I started winding down for my exit songs, because I didn't play no gangster rap after a certain point in time, but that one would just get folks get them cranking, and they loved it. Yeah, I met Kurupt in Vegas, man, a few years back. I wanted to introduce myself, and like many times in the past, he knew exactly who I was. Hey, man, I know you had to tell me who you are, OG, blah blah. We sit there and kicked it for a good little while, man. And he has a medical marijuana strain, and he gave me a moon rock that shot me past
Moon
Mars.
rocks. Yeah, moon rocks will definitely do that.
He gave me a moon rock, and that shit, hey, I'm going to stop right there before I cancel all sponsorships. Anyway. Yeah, very cool brother, man. I have never met Daz before. Never met Daz, but I did meet Kurupt.
Did he stand out to you lyrically? You know good lyrics.
By all means,
yeah.
Yes. I don't get deep into a lot of albums, unfortunately, because I don't have time for it like I'd like to. But that particular cut was always stuck out to me, and also his appearance on the Chronic when they introduced the Chronic and the Doggy Style, right?
The Chronic and Doggy Style, yeah.
Right, yeah. Everything he touched on Chronic and Doggy Style was always commendable. When you got somebody like Ice Cube that says you're one of his favorite MCs, that says a whole lot. And Ice Cube just recently did a YouTube video talking about Kurupt and how he felt he was one of the a very underrated MC.
For sure, definitely in my top 10.
One of his favorites. Yep,
for sure. Well, there are people close to Kurupt who said that he has been experiencing health issues for quite some time now. One of those people is Reggie Wright Jr., I should say, from Bomb First. Shout out to Bomb First. But he's mentioned that, Kurupt has problem drinking. He's the type that drinks in the morning, drinks in the evening, drinks in the afternoon, taking back those blunts, probably multiple times a day. As somebody in their 50s, even in their 40s, 30s, kind of got to be careful with all that intake, if it's true. But let's take this time, Lonzo, to break down some games, some grown-ass men enlightenment about health and how at the end of the day, that's all you have, bro.
You know what? Speaking of health, I got to give a shout out to my son. He's my oldest son, Joshua, is in the hospital as we speak, fighting double pneumonia. as we speak. He was in the hospital last Tuesday. Well, he was in the hospital last Tuesday. I left to go see him after the show, and he was in bad shape. Bad. He's an EMT. He was in bad shape, Doc. I mean, it was very critical. It was that serious, man. I could have lost my son. And he don't drink, he don't smoke. All you do is shoot pool, take care of his kids. But he's an EMT driver, so he's EMT, so he's exposed to a lot of negative germs, a lot of negative energy when it comes to people. And he's doing a lot better. I saw him yesterday. I'm probably gonna see him tomorrow, but he's doing a lot better. He's up around, he's talking. They took him off the ventilator, all that kind of stuff. So I'll just say this, man. My son is only 37 years old. He's 37. 3 kids. Life don't care about that. He don't drink. He don't smoke. He lives a pretty clean life, and he still got caught up off guard. But again, because he don't do all the other stuff, it helps him if he does contract something, and that's the part people don't understand. If you already have asthma, why are you smoking cigarettes? If you already have kidney issues, why are you drinking? If you have kidney or diabetes, you drinking because all liquor is straight sugar. Did anybody tell you that? Straight sugar. So when you've been doing this for a long time, it takes a toll on your body, man. It ain't got to kill you. It just aged the shit out your ass. I learned that a long time ago, working in clubs, running clubs, and I would see some of the managers and club owners from back in the day. And these guys would be, man, maybe 5, 6 years older than me and looking told back because they kept a bottle of something in their hand. They felt because they already paid for it, it was theirs to drink. Maybe so, but there's a price to pay with that. And a lot of cats don't understand it until it's too late. You can't you can't smoke all the weed, you can't drink all the drink, you can't knock down all the girls. Doc, get you a little bit of everything, a little bit of money, a little bit of girls, a little bit of drink, a little bit of smoke, if that's what you like, and go sit your ass down someplace. Bottom line.
Yeah. And drink some water, man. You know how many parties I've been to? Like just recently was joking about this. Blacks and my Latin homies, I'm keeping it real. You go to a party, beer, Hennessy, vodka, Cavassier. Hey, where's the water at, dog? Oh shit, let me go in the back and get some water. Motherfuckers don't got no bottled water.
No. We go to the hole, get the green hole out the back. Get the hole out the garage, man. Man, you got to have all. Then you can do almost anything as long as you have some kind of balance to it, and that's where the problem comes in at. You can do almost anything. You can almost ingest anything, but you got to have something to counterbalance it, and that's the problem with this generation. It's all gas, no brakes, baby. You got to apply the brakes some point in time. You got to slow down sometime. If you don't slow down, you will get slowed down, if not stopped permanently. You will get slowed down or stopped permanently. I don't care how much money you got. If you ain't got your health, you still broke.
Tell Steve Jobs that. Ask Steve Jobs.
I don't care how much money you got. Without your health, you still broke. One of my richest cousins, beautiful house up in the hills, the Jaguar, the whole 9 yards. He kept on trying to get that next bag, man. And next thing you know, they was bagging him up, dude. And you can't take nothing with you, man. Can't take nothing with you. So figure out what's important to you, folks. Figure out what's important to you.
I understand that statement. The older I get, Lonzo, think about what's important to you, man. If it ain't worth it, don't do it. You know what I mean? And I'm no holier than thou, dude. I'll smoke my joint I'll take a little sip, but balance, homie, balance. I drink water. I work out balance is all Lonzo is saying. But someone else I want to talk with you about, man. I remember him from Punky Brewster. That was the first time I think I remember this dude. But he's from Southern California, so I'm very curious if he made his way through any of Lonzo, especially when he was doing clubs and anything. But we lost TK Carter, comedian, actor. He's wrote for Chris Tucker. I mean, he was in Space Jam, Runaway Train, and like I said, I remember him from Punky Brewster. But do you remember TK Carter? And do you remember if he made it through your?
I remember him completely, but I never met him personally. He never got around to come. He never came to the hood, farther I know. He didn't get a pass to me. I remember him from DC Cab.
Oh, you pulled
that
that
was
one
back in
out.
the
Wow.
DC
That was one of the
Cab.
first movies I've ever seen in my life. It came on TV. That's a great movie. If you've never seen DC Cab, you got to watch that. There's another dude from DC Cab, too. It's one of Dave Chappelle's influences. He's in that movie,
dude,
another black comedian.
Funny dude. I forgot his name.
Man.
Dave Chappelle talked about him.
Go ahead, though.
His
Go ahead.
special.
Yeah, he talked about exactly.
He talked about it big time. This funny dude. This dude was hilarious. He always had his hair real crazy, and he would do all. But he was a very funny dude. And I tell you who else was in that movie. But Bill Maher was in that movie. Bill Maher and Mr. T, if I had mistaken. Yeah, Mr. T was in DC.
Mr. T for sure was, man.
Yeah. So,
Gary Busey, Marsha Warfield.
Yeah.
Bill Maher, yeah, damn,
that
that's
was
crazy.
one of the movies, man. It was one of them cult movies, man. You know, if you liked it, you liked it. It was like back in the 80s, they made movies, for certain groups specifically. If you like crazy over the top type shit like I do, then that movie was for you. Same thing with Night Shift with Michael Keaton, not Michael Keaton, Batman, and the Fonz, Henry Winkler. They had a movie called Night Shift. They both worked in a morgue, and that shit was stupid. Both became pimps. I was crazy. Anyway, yeah, I do remember T.K. Carter, man, very well from television and all kinds of stuff. It just I never had a chance to meet him personally.
Yeah, DC Cab, Charlie Barnett. That's who we're thinking about.
Charlie Barnett, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that was Dave Chappelle's influence right there, if anyone doesn't know. But yeah, RIP to TK Carter. Other than what I mentioned, I didn't really know too much about his career, but it does suck when someone, passes away, especially, man, with these young people we're talking about, Lonzo, and it just, as I get up there, man, trips me out, bro. Yeah, man.
Age brothers. I didn't know he was a little older than me, a few months older than me. I didn't know we were anywhere near the same age. Sometimes you just never know. And I hadn't seen him in years. I don't know what he looked like, but as far as I could tell, he looked like he was okay. And that's the part that's scary.
Yeah, that's the part that's scary. Yeah, all right, Lonzo, Cherry Johnson was fine, Derek Mallory. That's the one who played Cherry and Punky Brewster. That was one of my first crushes. She was a little black girl, Punky's little friend. Little Cherry, man. Punky she got older. She was fine too. Anyway, getting off topic. Hey, I want to chat with you about, Lonzo, this video I came across. Anytime something with Eazy-E or N.W.A. or Ice Cube or Dr. Dre or Yellow, whatever comes on my timeline, I got to save it to my watch later so I could watch it. I came across this video, and it's from Black Star Chronicles. They have 109,000 subscribers. They did a video called The Disturbing Truth About the Death of Eazy-E. Topic that's been rehashed a billion times, but I'm listening, and I listen to these things, Lonzo, with a different ear. I listen to them as someone who sits down with the godfather of West Coast hip hop every single Tuesday and knows the real story of West Coast hip hop. So I listen for flaws and things that just sound off. This first one sounded off to me, Lonzo. So I'm going to play it, and 10-second clip or something like that. But I need you to hear this and tell me if this is true.
Danger was constant. He knew he could easily end up dead the same way his cousin did. Looking for a way out, Eazy used his drug money to invest in music. He set up a small, makeshift studio in his parents' garage and started recording his first tracks. His life experience...
Did Eazy have a studio before?
No.
Talk to me, dog. Where do they get this shit from, man?
They just push it out their ass, man. They just got one, okay? Eazy, I think he had a couple of turntables. I think he had a couple of turntables at the most. Maybe that's what they're referring to. Because when they came to me, they didn't have nothing. I mean, there was no reason for him to come to me if he already had a studio. Didn't make any sense. So no, he didn't have no studio.
That's exactly what I thought. And if you listen to it more, they make it sound like he recorded his first tracks out of this studio. Let me just see. Hold on.
The streets, the violence, the loss became the foundation of his sound. That honesty connected with people who were living the same reality.
So they're saying that he created all of this stuff in his mom's, his whole image, his sound, all of that in his mom's garage, which we all know is not true.
Easy couldn't make a record without Dre, and the first record he ever made was right here in the studio with Boys in the Hood. And see, this is bullshit. This is people.
And if you listen longer, Lonzo, it says he met Dre after this time. I was like, come on, dog.
You know, people create content. That's how you get 100 and some odd thousand views, because people who, I bet you most of them don't know the story. Most people that listen to this show don't know the story. So you take a story, you tell a half-ass version about it, and you put a twist in it. People never not familiar with it. You create controversy, and people will share. Right now, by us playing that video, he gets another play, and he gets some more. You know, it affects his content overall in his algorithms. So they don't care about the truth. The truth has nothing to do with the internet. Nothing.
And it is AI for sure, because later on in the documentary, or whatever you want to call this, instead of Suge Knight, he says Suga Knight. And
Suge
you know,
Knight.
when they misplay shit, you're like, this motherfucker, this is AI, man.
Yep.
All right, so let me play this one for you, Lonzo. Now, apparently this came out of Eazy-E's own mouth, and I don't remember this. I remember something similar, but I don't remember this specifically. So I'm going to play this clip, and you tell me if you know about if it's true or not.
Especially with songs like F the Police, it was widely believed he was on the FBI's radar. In Eazy's final interview, it was claimed that the Ku Klux Klan had placed a hit on him, and that the FBI was allegedly aware of it, but chose not to warn him.
Do you know anything about the KKK having a hit on Eazy and the FBI supposedly knowing about it but didn't warn him?
Mike Klein talked about something like that. I asked Mike about that. I don't think it was really true though, Doc. It may have been some people that did not like Eazy, that somebody may have called them the Klan, but I don't see the Klan sending a letter or an email with the Klan letterhead threatening somebody to kill him. I mean, he had his detractors by all means, but I don't know if it was really something that you know, it was organized. It was an organized hit by a hate group like that. I mean, it don't make sense.
All right. Police,
after police. It didn't say nobody else.
Okay. Yeah, so those are the two clips right there. You know, unfortunately, like I said, they have 109,000 subscribers. It is what it is, but that's why we have the show, so we can at least clear up things, because otherwise shit's going to go in. And unfortunately, there's good to bad in AI. And AI, this is all from AI. Somehow it got in the algorithm that Eazy-E had his own studio and he met Dre after, and it had things all around. But that's a bad side of AI. But Wu-Tang's RZA is praising AI, and he says it saved him thousands of dollars on album production costs. It sounds like some of the biggest ones in the game, Lonzo, are starting to embrace AI, including RZA, who said it saved him thousands of dollars on production costs.
I mean, they could do that, Doc. I'm working on a project right now, planning on releasing any day now, and it's a good chunk of it is AI produced. And here is the part that I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed about and also relieved about. If it sounds good, if it comes out your speakers and it makes your feet tap, your heart flutter, your mind think, your face smile, and you get your bob in your head, who cares who really made it? I tell you what, a lot of folks ain't doing that these days. And that's the problem. That's one of the problems I think that AI is gonna fix, because you can make it don't necessarily make bullshit. I've had tracks I didn't care for, but most of the tracks is usually when I get a track from AI, it's a tough choice between what I'm going to use and what I'm going to play. Like I was trying to come up with my new theme song. Both of those are AI generated. It was a toss up. Which one was the best? It was a toss up. Which one was the best? Because it has something that a lot of artists don't have, and that's quality control. So it tends to give you good production. Again, the production is based on the prompts that you give it, but for the most part, if you know what you're doing, it will give you something to work with. I haven't made a song in about 2 weeks. Thought I give myself a break when I go to do something. I don't want everything to sound the same. But when it gives you something and you get that chill, like when I get a chill, come on, man. I don't care who made it. I don't care. When I get that chill, I know it's ready. I got a good one, and that's all I work for. I work for the chill, baby.
Love that.
Whether I get it from a live producer, AI, whatever, all I'm looking for is that chill.
Mm. What are some songs or some artists back in the day, going back to your time when you was just all into music? Not saying you are now, but you know what I mean. Who gave you that chill?
When I first heard the first Guy album, man, I was
that's
first
a good
Guy
one.
album.
Yeah.
First Guy, oh man, damn. Piece of My Love, Teddy's Jam. Man, come on, dude. I can't think about off of hand right now, but just that's one of them albums I didn't have to worry about switching nothing. Let it flip it over, let it play, keep on playing. D'Angelo, Brown Sugar, that album, okay? That album right there, the first one back in '94, it was all good, Doc. It was all good. So it was real hard to those are the kind of songs that I was brought up on. So anything else is kind of hard for me to accept. It was really hard for me to accept anything less than that. Keith Sweat's album, man, come on, dude. That first album.
Dog, I was literally thinking about Keith Sweat when I asked you that question. That album that stood out to me, dog. Forget about it, homie.
Come on, man.
Sheesh.
Come on, dude. They don't do that.
I never heard anything like that in my life with that first Keith Sweat album.
No, and and so when you run across something like that, man, it stays with you, Doc. The Chronic. Oh, I'm sorry. More so, Doggy Style. I heard Doggy Style like, oh, this Negro ain't playing. But they say he don't miss. He ain't never missed. Just one after another. One after another. Come on, man. When you get something like that, it's real hard, damn. Ooh, he ain't playing. That's a good feeling, Doc.
Yeah. Well, not all artists are happy with AI. Jermaine Dupri had this to say. He said this was specifically about AI winning Grammys and now they're nominated for Grammys and shit, apparently. But Jermaine said, so let me get this straight. Years ago, the industry found out Milli Vanilli weren't really the voices on their Grammy-winning record, and they were stripped of their Grammy. But now we're getting ready to accept people who can't even sing, create songs for a fake person. How is that any different than Milli Vanilli? What would you say to Jermaine Dupri?
Jermaine Dupri, go back to the studio, start making some more records. Number two, Milli Vanilli was intentionally designed to deceive people. It was created by a super producer, hired some singers, and put out a whole fake persona to deceive people. AI is not deceiving anybody. It's an AI song. It's just a banger. Somebody went in there and put the proper prompts with the proper mix and whatever else they had to do to make this song and made it a banger. I do believe that because Milli Vanilli was intentionally created to deceive the public, makes it a big difference. And again, we're talking about, 30 years ago now? 25, 30 years ago?
Shit, damn near 40. You talking about Milli Vanilli?
Yeah.
Yeah, shit, 91, 90 actually. Damn.
Back when Milli Vanilli wasn't around, when your mama told you don't get in car with strangers, they didn't have Uber. When your mama told you don't eat other people's food, you didn't have Grubhub. When your mama told you don't do all kind of things, we didn't have those options back then. So yeah, we probably felt some kind of way about it. But as technology has given us other options, especially after this last generation of music we've had that has no musical value whatsoever, no swing, no nothing, maybe we'll start dancing again, man. Maybe we'll have some lyrics that mean something and people can enjoy themselves as opposed to promote murder and death. I like to think so. I'm just saying.
Now, in hindsight, it's amazing to me that Milli Vanilli lasted as long as they did without getting caught. I mean, in hindsight, we know how they both spoke. They had very heavy accents, and a European accent specifically. And then you hear them singing and it doesn't sound like whatever it is. Maybe it's just my brain being subjective because I know the truth. But Do you think Milli Vanilli could have lasted forever without anyone eventually finding out? If they didn't get caught that one time, remember that with the whole skipping of the CD thing?
Milli Vanilli probably would have lasted, man, because one, they were a marketing concept. Two decent-looking guys that could dance, and they had the look, the braids, the whole 9 yards. Nobody was paying the music no attention. It was a dance track. Girl, I know you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And
Blame it on the rain.
Come on, man. Come on. Menudo does the same shit. You ever heard of Menudo?
Of course, Menudo, man. They switch lineups every couple years, all that.
Menudo does the same thing. Everything ever recorded by the time was done by Prince. They just came in and did it later. Everything recorded by Vanity 6 was done by Prince. So when you think about the various artists that have come in and put their stamp of approval and may have hired somebody to come in and do the lead vocals, it's the same thing. They just hired somebody who wasn't the original person. Times have changed, man. Times have changed.
You know, CNC Music Factory, we didn't find out till later. They were a group that had a couple of hits in the 90s, you know that. But they apparently, the lead singer wasn't the person who was on the video, you know, that was being the forefront of the person because she was overweight and didn't have that look, but she can sing like a motherfucker. You know, were there Milli Vanillis and things like that before Milli Vanilli got caught back in the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you know? I'm
quite sure there was. But I can't recall anybody offhand. I know at one time, one of the Temptations was having some health issues, and he'd have a guy backstage singing his part. He'd be out front performing, and they'd have a guy backstage singing all his parts. That's almost the same thing, ain't it?
Hell yeah, it is.
Okay, so I mean, look, people. This is the show business. The show must go on at all costs, okay? You got artists right now stand on stage and sing on top of their own lyrics. That ain't a problem. You got people that singing through auto-tune. That ain't what they sound like in person. Come on, man. It's a lot of things that we've become accustomed to that we probably wouldn't have accepted at one point in time. Hey, get a new calendar because things are changing.
You're right. I'm sure if you would have told RZA 20, 30 years ago that one day he'd be using some sort of system to help him create beats or this, and that, he'd have been like, man, hell, motherfucking no, this is hip hop.
Right. I mean, you ain't heard a real drummer on a hip hop record in God knows how long. You ain't heard a real nothing in God knows how long. Violin, drums, you might have heard a real guitar. But a lot of the stuff that can be sequenced, you ain't heard that. If you got chords and drums, that shit gets sequenced, doc. It might be two people in the studio making all that shit. You never know. Ain't no more orchestras. Ain't nobody gonna go to the studio, hire an orchestra to create some Barry White or some Isaac Hayes type extravagant songs and just put them on Spotify or some other platform to get a tenth of a penny. Anybody or a 50th of a penny every play. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And that's why I think AI is going to be so prevalent, because if you got the proper version of the right program, you can make a few bucks on your song, and it's very little money, financial layout. Think about it, man. The financial layout to make a song is minimized these days thanks to AI. So if you get lucky with AI and be able to maintain some of your publishing and some of your writers, that's all you're gonna get anyway. In some of it, in most cases. So I'm all for it, Doc. I'm sorry.
It is. All right, we're halfway through the show, so I'm going to remind everybody to hit that like button if you have not already. Just go on and smash it for us. We appreciate that more than you know. It really helps out the channel. It lets the algorithm know that we exist, and we definitely need that help. So please hit that like button. If this is your first time joining the channel and you want to hear some real West Coast hip hop, not only that, some real game, some grown ass men enlightenment, you are tuned into the right channel. N.W.A. Stories with Lonzo. That is Alonzo Williams, the godfather of West Coast hip hop. I am Dusty Vision. Tonight at 7, joining me on my channel right after the show, I'm going to post the link in the chat. We're going to be talking about the history of rap diss songs, and we're going to go over some of our favorite rap diss songs. So please tune in at 7 p.m. to my channel. I'm going to post the link in the chat. Lonzo, tell them about Band Buzz.
Band Buzz, folks, if you're tired of just getting streams, you want to get paid, download Band Buzz. Band Buzz will allow you to set your own fee for your own music. Now, the only trick is it got to have something somebody wants to buy. If you're just making money for your health or just to be streamed and say, oh, I'm on Spotify, I'm on this, I'm on that, that's fine. But if you actually want to give somebody a chill, if you're able to give somebody a chill to get them to swipe their card or tap their card, whatever the case may be, you want Band Buzz. If you want to have a chance to host a backstage meet and greet, you want Band Buzz. If you want to sell your merchandise, you want Band Buzz. Band Buzz is the app for all independent artists, especially if you're out there gigging. If you're out there doing shows and getting fired, spitting fire, and people say, I mean, how can I get your material? Right here on my phone. Scroll down to give me your QR code, let them scroll down, pick the song they want, and the money's in your account just like Cash App, baby. Band Buzz. If you're an independent artist trying to get paid and do this for a living, you got to have Band Buzz. It don't cost anything. There is a small distribution fee when you sell a record, but sell some music, but everything is up to you. Which the prices is up to you. The prices are set by you, and you get paid instantly. Band Buzz is the way to go, folks.
Band Buzz, baby, Band Buzz. All right, let's keep it pushing. Lonzo, something I would love to chat with you about. I've interviewed, and they've been on your channel as well, our channel as well here, Havoc the Mouthpiece and Prodigy from South Central Cartel. And one piece of the interview that I found very interesting was Havoc was explaining to me that there was a time where the West Coast saved Def Jam Records. Now, I remember this, from articles back in the day and just knowing a little bit more about the industry than the average person because I'm a hip hop nerd. But there was a time where, Def Jam was hurting. Bad Boy was the only thing on the East Coast pumping out records and making things happen. And the rest of the East Coast was hurting, especially Def Jam. So what did Def Jam do? They decided to sign a lot of West Coast acts. This is where you get the Warren G's. His first album was on Def Jam. J.O. Felony, Domino, South Central Cartel. And these artists, I mean, who else was, there's so many. I mean, I said him already anyway. I'm sorry, I'm talking in my head. But anyway, what do you remember about this time, Lonzo, about the East Coast running things at one point, and then slowly the West Coast started taking over? And what do you know about West Coast artists saving Def Jam Records?
The one thing about West Coast artists versus East Coast artists, a lot of East Coast artists don't produce dance music. And that's one thing about West Coast artists. Most of them come from being DJs or close to DJs, and they understand that we like to party. A lot of it, not all of your West Coast, East Coast music is very they talk a gang ahead. They got some great lyrics, but most of them don't get you on the dance floor. That's one thing that we always understood here on the West Coast. Dre understood it, Snoop understood it, Quick understood it, Warren G understood it. Everybody understood it. Back in the day, getting folks to the dance floor was one of the main objectives. And that was something that was forgotten by New York. Public Enemy, I love them to death. I never danced to a Public Enemy song. I never played one, not for a party. I've played very few Nas songs for a party. Jay-Z had a couple, but for the most part, when Mo D was rocking, Go See the Doctor, all that right there. When Teddy was producing Mo D, all that was bumping. LL had a couple, but for the most part, most of your East Coast artists did not care about the danceability of a record. And that whole concept could be get a little stale after a while. Yeah, I'm bobbing my head. You talking shit, but I can't play you. I can't do nothing with you at the club. I can't. It's not there for me. Or I'm at the club just vibing. Vibing is one thing, but I want to get my groove on too. And that's something that all the West Coast acts, most of the West Coast acts, understood and participated in.
Now, the club back then was where a lot of records broke. Can you explain the process, the 80s, 90s, what you remember about how an artist got their record to someone in the club to play at a club? What was the process of that?
That was kind of easy because as long as you paid your cover charge, and depending on who the DJ was, you can. And then check this out. But sometimes it was best to get it done early because nobody wants to test a record in the middle of the night. Most DJs did not want to test a record when the club was cracking. Nah, man, I got to hear this before I start playing it because once you get a groove going, and here's the problem: once you get a groove going, somebody brings you new material, and the ugly baby theory kick in. And what is the ugly baby theory? Because no matter what you bring or what you produce, you think it's the bomb. It's the ugliest record in the world. It's like a mother orangutan think her baby is beautiful. And the same thing when you make your first record. Oh, this is gonna be the cut. It's gonna be the cut. You are very hyped up. You drinking your own Kool-Aid, and ain't nobody tasting feeling it but you. And that's what happens to a lot of times, especially with new artists. But if you get a DJ, you got a good song, he'll make sure everybody knows. Every DJ wants to be the one to say, I brought that. Oh, I broke that over here. I brought that over here. They do that. We do that. So if you got something hot and you give it to them, and especially if this guy got a following, and you know for bringing them hot records, he'll break it for you real fast. Test it out for you do a quick test. That's how so many DJs. That's when they had record pools. A lot of DJs will report to record pools, and record pools reported to radio stations. To record companies, and record companies will report to radio stations. What I mean by that is they play it in the club, they get a direct feedback test. Take it back to the marketing director. Oh man, they played this record in 10 clubs and they got a great response on it. Take that to the radio station, and the radio station might put you in the mix show. If you got into the mix show, that was the beginning of getting get some spins. If you get in the mix show and people like you in the mix show, now you might get a chance to come on, I don't know, by 10:30, 11 o'clock. If you start getting some heat, they move you up in the day parts. Simple as that.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what you remember about South Central Cartel? They are someone who had an interesting come up, before they signed with Def Jam. They were doing their thing independently on the street. That was one of the first tapes I had, was a South Central Cartel tape. Years before I obviously even met any of them back in 1988, 89, they were doing their thing on the street. But, what do you remember about just the members about South Central Cartel, or hearing anything about South Central Cartel while you out there stomping them streets?
I heard about them. We didn't meet until much later on, Doc. By 88, I was back in the club business. Me and Havoc ran across each other a few times in the mix, but I always got him confused with the other Havoc and Prodigy. There was two of them. I'm like, wait a minute, ain't you?
Two of them in the same group, and another Havoc and Prodigy on the East Coast. That's a weird ass dynamic.
So it was very confusing. I just kind of didn't bother with it.
It was Havoc the mouthpiece and Havoc the rhyme son, and then you had Prodigy, and then you had a Prodigy the something or something or other.
Right. So it was very confusing at some time, man. So I kind of backed up off of it until they figured it out. I know I was confused, and they went to Def Jam New York and went to sign Def Jam. I was very confused. I was even more confused when Warren G signed the Def Jam, but after I heard the story, I ain't mad at it. Oh,
talk to us about what do you remember about that, and why were you confused?
He couldn't get no love from Death Row or nobody else here locally. He couldn't get no. He wouldn't give no love. I think he didn't want to get caught up in the Dre Easy thing, and then Dre thing wasn't established all the way yet. If it was established, he wasn't messing with him, and he just like, I gotta do something. I think Dre told him he had to be his own man. That's what it was. I heard something to the effect, him say something to the effect that Dre told him he got to be his own man. See, you went on the Def Jam. I ain't mad at it.
You know what? Obviously, not knowing the whole story, like we both probably don't. But what do you think about that? About Dre? Because Dre and Warren G are half brothers. For anyone who doesn't know, something along those lines. What do you think about, you know, your big brother? He's up there, he's ruling the world, and he tells you, nah, you can't come with me. You got to go do your own thing.
I don't know, man. It all depends, dude. That's weird because I thought it was weird that it would happen. I think if my brother had some talent, I'd give him a shot. But also, sometimes that can be a problem because the family may think you owe them something that you don't owe them, or they expect you to do more for them because they family, and that whole situation could be a headache. How do you drop your brother from if it don't work out? How do you drop your brother from the label? And you drop him from the label, the whole family gonna have a problem. So he may have been advised, hey man, I'm not. Plus, we got problems over here. Okay, you don't want to be on death row. And
that might be it right there, right? Yeah, that sounds more like it too.
To go to Ruthless, after Dre left, would almost be a slap in the face. So, hey man, it's you playing 3-dimensional checkers here. So, you know, 3-dimensional chess, I can say. You will never know the whole story.
Yeah. You know, speaking of chills, earlier we talked about chills. That Warren G album, that first Warren G album, gave me chills. Never heard anything like that in my life, man. What do you remember about hearing that album for the first time? We got Regulators. I mean, this DJ, he was on it.
Yeah, they did a great job, Doc. I mean, when he used that Holland Oates cut, which one was that?
I'll look it up. Go ahead.
He used the Holland Oates cut as a sound. That wasn't Regulator. Regulator was something else.
Private Eye. Oh, so use Private Eyes. What was it? Holland Oates. Are you? I don't know. Keep going.
Anyway, he used one of them Holland Oates cuts that I liked a lot for his chat room. Help me out.
Yeah, they'll get it. They'll help. I know Derek got it.
What do you say?
No, I know Derek's definitely gonna get it for us.
Yeah. What Holland Oates cut did Warren G use?
Michael McDonald, I think you're talking about.
Michael McDonald, yeah, Michael McDonald. That was Keep Forgetting. That one I knew for sure.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the Regulators. Michael McDonald, yeah. Keep forgetting. I don't love you no more.
I mean, and the whole the story that they told about being on 18th and something.
19th and Lewis. On 2-1 and Lewis.
2-1 and Lewis. You know, I'm gonna tell you a little story. When me and Warren had this conversation, and it's a true story. 2-1 and Lewis is a T. In that T is a restaurant called Callie's Kitchen. That was my auntie. Okay. When I asked Warren them about did they know anything about Callie's Kitchen, and man, they said they grew up on them burgers like everybody else did. So yeah, ain't no telling. We might be related.
Shout out to Warren G, man. Definitely a legend in my opinion, man. And just hearing Long Beach once again in the track, because that's where I was born and raised. And just hearing, first I heard Snoop saying Long Beach, then I hear Warren saying Long Beach. Let me ask you, how was it to hear Compton in the song? Well, you know, when N.W.A. popularized Compton, or you hear Toddy T, you know, somebody say Compton. Like, how did it feel to hear Compton in a song? I was very young.
You know what? I'm gonna say this honest to God truth. I said in my book, N.W.A. Novel of Lonzo, available on Amazon. I was never mad at Spade or Toddy T, but I was really disappointed. But like, you motherfuckers ain't shit, okay? Because when I was promoting Compton for World Class Wrecking Crew before anybody else had an N.W.A. attached to him, we had literally fights about that, man. Why we gotta be from Compton? Why we can't be from Gardena? Why we can't be from Carson? Because we all from Compton, fool, that's why. And they turned back around and jumped on it. I'm like, man, that ain't shit. That pissed me off. Because stay true to yourself. at all costs. Either you down with it or you not. But once it worked, oh, I'm good. I'm from Compton. Man, come on. Nobody wanted to be from Compton, man. Nobody wanted to be from Compton. Only person that didn't mind being from Compton was clientele. No, every person, only person that, and again, people gonna think I'm lying, but I ain't got a lie to kick it. Okay, everybody at that time was putting their cities on, the Bronx, wherever else back east, and I'm like, we claiming Compton. Oh, how we gotta claim Compton, man? Why we can't be from Carson or at least be from Linwood? No, man, we ain't from none of that shit. And next thing I know, they was all about Compton. I'm like, wow. That's how I got. Same thing happened with me and Unknown about CMW. Oh man, we don't need no more gangster groups. And he turned around and jumped on CMW and made a fortune with their ass. Yeah, I got hoodwinked twice. No bullshit. Damn near, well, almost went above the law because Laylaw brought me above the law first. And then he's already connected to Ruthless. And he just gave, hey man, check this out, Lonzo. What you think about this? Hey man, this is Bob. And Unknown, oh man, this is another gangster rap group. We got too many already on the West Coast. That was the line.
Got him. All right, let's talk about Compton, Lonzo. A Facebook group, a hip hop Facebook group. I tagged you in it. I don't know if you got it or not, but they posted something recently about talking about the Compton compilation. Something that you were heavily involved in. I'm looking at it right now. You're front and center with your pistol out. I think that's the first and only time you mentioned that you ever held a pistol. I don't know, was that a 38? What am I seeing? A 38, 357?
380.
380. Okay, all right, 380. All right, so the Compton compilation, the Sound Control Mob, and in parentheses, under investigation. I see two at the bottom of the album cover. I see to the right, I see your logo.
Okay.
Your world class. And then on the other side, I see City Fresh. Is that what I'm reading?
City Fresh Records.
Talk to us about City Fresh Records.
City Fresh was a partner of mine, man. His name was Charles. I ain't gonna give you his whole name because he don't like that. But his initials was CT. And he just said he just named the label City Fresh as opposed to CT Fresh. And he and I were partners, and we were partnering. I was one of the main partners in West Coast Record Distributors, the company. I was a founding member. I was the founder, the creator of West Coast Record Distributors, and a founding member of the quadruplex of labels that actually owned West Coast Record Distributors. We were having some issues, and myself and Unknown sold my boy a piece of our pieces of West Coast Record Distributors, and he was looking to do some more products, so he partnered with me on the Sound Control Mob and on the Compton compilation, and that album. So I've never seen that album in any discount racks. I've never seen it anywhere but in people's collections. And because that's one of the few records that I made, I've never saw. When you make a record, after a period of time, it's going to show up in the discount rack. I don't give a damn what Michael Jackson probably shows up in discount racks. I never saw a Compton compilation in a discount rack. And for a while, I would scour CD rack regularly just for new material because I was a big CD collector. Still got my CD collection right now. And I never run across of all the product I've ever been involved with. I've never saw a Compton compilation. The Compton Cartel, yes. Compton compilation, no.
Compton Cartel. Someone brought it up in the chat room. What do you remember about Compton Cartel? I know Mike T was involved, right?
Yep. The Compton compilation. The first one was a good album. And we actually had a deal for it that got blown up. I think I told that story before. The deal got messed up by a member of West Coast Record Distributors. And I still was trying to get in the record business. You got to have continuous product to get money from the previous product. So I put together Compton Cartel, Mike T, MC Breastfed, few other brothers, Looney Tunes, Battery Brain, a few other cats, and we was I never forget, we was at Compton, at the Compton metro station, taking the picture. That picture was on the metro station, and we was up there just taking pictures, man. Man, about 10 or 15 metro cops jumped off the train, drew out on us, and it just so happened I was at the bottom of the metro line, and they jammed everybody up for not having tickets, because you couldn't back then. You couldn't be on the platform without a ticket. So while the cop was trying to write tickets to the guys, I'm buying tickets down at the bottom. I'm buying tickets like a son of a gun. I'm buying tickets. I only had about, it might have been 10 cats. So by the time they wrote a couple of tickets, I was passing other guys out tickets. Now the cops are mad at me because I'm buying. You can't write no more tickets. You can't get but 2 more. All you got is 2 tickets out of here. So man, it was just crazy. And then once we told them what we was doing, we ain't trying to go nowhere. We was trying to take a couple of pictures. Oh, they was all cool. And man, it was just, it was a mess. It came in like gangbusters. It came in like 10 deep, jacked everybody, talking a bunch of shit. And because everybody was looking like they was looking. I came up looking like Trusters. Okay, I've always carried myself a little bit different when it came to being out these streets. And I walk, hey man, I'm the executive producer, and I'm buying tickets. I'm passed out tickets. Hey, it's my record label, blah blah blah. I'm giving my card, and they backed up both of us. But again, they already wrote 2 tickets, and it was like $15 at that time. So it was no big deal. But yeah, cop wasn't shit.
You said it, so we gotta talk about it. It's been a while. We have new listeners, so let's bring up CB4. You said trust us earlier. All right, CB4, man. Let's take it back to when that came out. What were your first thoughts when you saw it?
Man, CB4 was N.W.A. all day long. Okay, when you think about, I felt like 2 characters in that movie. I felt like Trustus, and I also felt like Gusto. Okay, I never sold no dope, but I was a club owner, but also on the record label. And in fact, Willard Pugh, the guy who played Trustus, he was at my prostate cancer walk this year. He's a prostate cancer survivor also, and a Gemini. So I think his birthday is the same day as mine. Yeah, so we hit it off real big. And when I first saw it, I remember them going through all their different changes. The fat rappers, the mop heads, whatever they was going in CB4. They was going through all kind of changes, and then they stumbled upon the gangster thing, and it was like, wow. And they straight out of Low Cash, okay. And they just straight emulated N.W.A. the best they possibly could in a comedic way. And when you think about some of the guys that was in the movie, the one guy who was a mama's boy, and you got another guy who's doing Alan Payne. Yeah, I'll jiggle your ball. That shit was hilarious. Okay. And Chris Tucker, Chris Rock, he just supposed to be the super hard cat Gusto. The whole movie, man, was a parody of what I experienced firsthand. It's still one of my favorite movies. If I run across it,
I think I want to watch it like soon. Yeah, it's been a minute since I watched it.
What platform do you watch TV on?
I pretty much have everything.
Do you watch Pluto? You watch Pluto?
I love Pluto, man. We talked about Pluto. Pluto has everything, man. They used to be a laughing stock. Now they're the shit.
Man, look, I'm trying to. I just saw they had a hip hop channel now. They had a hip hop channel. I'm trying to see how I get my documentaries on the Pluto hip hop channel. That's one of my goals, is to get my documentaries on the hip hop channel.
Yeah. All right. So what character was Lonzo in CB4, if you had to guess? Trust.
It was a bit.
You said there was a mixture, right?
It was a mixture of Gusto and Trustus. I wasn't a gangster type, but again, I was a club owner, and I was a club owner, and I was always chasing some things, and but I was a record label owner. I wasn't as shady. I never was shady, a shady character. But it just, they just give you that kind of thing, man. They just, it is what it is. It was the 80s, man. You had to be a whole lot back then to survive.
If you had to guess, obviously we don't know, but if you had to guess, how do you think the members of N.W.A took that movie?
Oh, they probably, some of them might have laughed, some of them might have got pissed off because some people take themselves very
Who would you
serious.
think would have laughed and who would you think would have? Oh, okay, all right, go for it.
I ain't gonna get there. I don't need nobody inboxing me, but some folks take themselves very serious, and other people just, they just know that, hey, man, it don't mean no harm. It's just something they did. And I was watching another movie last night, remind me of N.W.A. Fear of the Black Hat.
Someone just brought it up in the chat. I just watched that about a month ago. It must be going on the loop because I just watched it about a month ago.
I was watching it last night. It's on Pluto, and that's when I found out they had a hip hop channel. And yeah, Fear of the Black Hat probably reminded me of that shit more than anything. Because they had all. Fear of the Black Hat was probably a more directed version of N.W.A, more so than TB4.
Yeah. Someone said High C did the rhymes in CB4. I never knew that. That's dope to know because I never knew that.
Yeah, he was one of the. He was also in 8 Mile too.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was 8 Mile. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to give him a call. I'm going to give Clifford a call, see if he'll come on the podcast.
Please do, dog. Please. That would be an amazing interview. I'm going to get with you offline so we can work on that for sure. Okay. But someone mentioned the sound. We got about 3 more minutes. Someone mentioned the soundtrack. Man, Lonzo, there was a time where the soundtrack was just as anticipated as the movie coming out. Above the Rim, Murder Was the Case. I mean, it was like, I want to get the soundtrack.
The baddest soundtrack in my era was probably Above the Rim.
Above the Rim. Woo!
Above the Rim was a cold.
I know a place where we can go outside and have some fun. That's my shit.
Understand this. When that record came out, my buddy's dad had this big ass swimming pool, above ground pool. He gave it to me. We put that pool in the backyard. Took up my whole backyard. You've been in my house before. Took up my whole top deck of my backyard. Man, we laid the prerequisite for everything you saw in Straight Outta Compton. We had them everywhere, bikini, topless. Oh man, it was and that was the soundtrack. That was the soundtrack, and the movie to go see was Pulp Fiction. Okay? I had to see Pulp Fiction like 5 times before I figured it out.
I still ain't figured it out to this day.
It's still parts I ain't figured out yet, okay? It's still parts I have not figured out yet. But yeah, man, that right there, oh man, that right there, because everybody was still in a lot of guys are still in the game. And the reason why I got rid of my pool is because a lot of my buddies was in the game. And one day I'm cleaning the pool out and I stepped on something. I thought it was a rock. It wasn't the rock, kind of rock I thought it was. It was in my pool. Nice little pack of rocks in my pool. And I said, oh, they just changed the law. They were starting to confiscate shit. I said, oh, no, we can't do this. I threw the pump in that submachine gun and drained it and broke it down and put it out for the trash man.
Man. All right, that hour flew by, Lonzo. We got to wrap it up because I got to start my show here in about a minute or 2. So please, everybody, as soon as this show's over, join me in my channel. I'm going to post the link right now in the description. We're going to be talking about diss songs, the history of diss songs, and some of our favorite diss songs. There's the link right there. Join me. Lonzo, any last words before we hit him with that outro, my man?
Hey, folks, stay tuned for West Coast, the 50th anniversary of West Coast Hip Hop coming 2028, man. 2028, 26.
West Coast Hip Hop.
West Coast Hip Hop, 228. It's coming, baby. It's coming. It's in the works. You heard it first right here on the N.W.A show with Lonzo. Dusty, we out of here, baby.
Let's do it, man. Hit him with that outro, man.
For those who never heard of me, I'm the first one to put Dr. Dre in the surgery, stuck Ice Cube in the freezer till he got cold. On the eve after dark, 50-yard line into Super Bowl. In the movie Straight Outta Compton, they played me like a hater of rap. Don't believe that Hollywood bullshit because it was all cap. My history goes deeper than you will ever know. Just remember that N.W.A. stands for not without Lonzo. Peace, y'all.
Welcome to N.W.A. story with Lonzo, the godfather of the West Coast. Now you know, with Dusty Vision on the side, we ride, taking you back to where legends came alive. From ruthless roots to the studio scene, classic tales that the world's never seen. Every Tuesday night we spark the heat, from 6 to 7, history on repeat. So sit back, tap in, and enjoy the vibe. If you love hip hop, like and subscribe.